Well, let me get started. Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter, and I will be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunthangar Video Hangouts. Let me mute myself. I've got to figure this out eventually. But if you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunthangar forum member to find the link to attend the after party. Here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthangar Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench, and we'll post a link there today with today's date momentarily. Now, if you're not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF. That's Stunthangar, either with a ER or AR, doesn't matter. They both will work. So stunthangar.com/S as in sunset, M as in Mary, F as in Foxtrot. You must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunthangar, he will not approve you. Now, if you're inclined to not come in, just enjoy watching us on YouTube, wonderful, fantastic. Please enter your questions or comments in the chat box, and I'll do my best to make your comments or questions a part of the show. And I understand sometimes I can't get a word in myself, so be patient. I will state your comment or ask your questions to our illustrious panel. Now, I believe you have to have a YouTube registration to be able to text into the chat box. So I might be mistaken on that, but I believe that's the case. Now, if you find the Stunthangar Video Hangouts or the many building videos that Sparky does on this platform informative and enjoyable, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share the videos, and then comments. All those help the analytics of the channel. And speaking of comments, I don't come in Sparky's channel, but Monday and Friday, that's it. So if you have a comment you want to get to me, go on my YouTube channel, which is called Flying Control Line Stunt. So all the letters are there, no spaces, Flying Control Line Stunt on YouTube. And I'm going to make a video. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but just the video of me flying, which is many of me flying, just make a comment and I'll get a notification. That's the big thing about that is I will know that there's a notification on my YouTube channel. I'll go to the comment section. I'll find your comment and get back to you ASAP. Okay. Now, another thing you can do to help us grow our channel is subscribe to the YouTube memberships, which start at $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. I mean, that's an incredible value for stuff that's really serious. I mean, it's not like some of the stuff that's viral on YouTube, but building a model airplane, actually taking some wood and making artwork. Sparky demonstrates that ongoing. He's building a new plane right now. So for 17 cents a day, you can watch a master. So he has 55 years plus building and pick up some tips and trips from him. And he doesn't tell you this is the only way, but this is what works for him. Now with your memberships, you will get special badges in the YouTube chat box, which I'll see when you're in the chat, and you have unlimited replay of member-only videos. Now there's some videos that you only can watch if you're a member, some videos from Al Rabe and such. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. And you can use the super chat, which is located at the bottom of the chat box, the big $sign. And I want to let you know that you can't donate. You cannot donate except for during the live stream. So again, we do these shows every Monday and Friday, 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I know that's late on the East Coast or the left coast or right coast, but come on in during that time, make your donation, make your comment, and click out, and then come back and watch the replay at a more convenient time. I totally understand that. I'm out here in the West Coast. It's daylight. It's only a little before 7 o'clock. So I understand it's not the same for everybody else and people around the world. So I want to make a point to thank you for your past, your present, and future support. You are making it happen. And I just want to ask you to just keep the conversations family room friendly. In other words, please don't use words or do things you wouldn't do in front of your children or grandchildren. And without that, any further ado, I'm going to post a link that's going to go to the Stunthangar forum website right now, which will post a link for guests to come in and friends to come in. I know last Monday, Sparky is spinning lots of plates. And so he's putting up the server or moving the server. So some people had the first time in a long time having to remember their password, and that created a hiccup. We only had like 8 people, I think, showed up in the channel in that conversation, excuse me. And let me see what's going on YouTube. We get to the control center here and see what's going on. I can remember how to get there. All right, so let's see here. There we go. Switch channels. Bear with me just a second. I got to do a few little things while I'm talking to you. I went flying today. I was joined by Keith Miller and Carl, who's a regular on here. And Carl, if you're listening, I'll get to you shortly, what we talked about. Okay, let's see here. So far, it looks like there's Tom Ramos in the chat box. Thank you, Tom. I'll be there shortly. Let me get into the control panel. Let's see. Come on, computer. Here we go. We are live. Okay, we have 7 concurrent viewers. We have Tom in the chat. Tom says, Charles, you got a like from me. Thank you very much, Tom. You're the first one in the chat. Let me edit some of the features of this YouTube here. That's done. Is that you, Sparky? Or I guess you're coming in, right? Hey, Sparky. So we have 15 playbacks. We have 6 likes, 8 concurrent viewers. And I believe I'm being joined by Sparky. I see his icon, which is, let me set this up. And Gary Sinclair is coming in. Hey, Gary, how you doing? Hey, Gary, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay. I didn't hear nothing. I thought maybe.
Yeah, I think Sparky's here. Maybe he's just listening to us. I see his tagline there, Stunthangar 21.
Yeah, that looks like our guy.
So how you doing, Gary?
Pretty good. Did you get my last email?
I did. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Just fooling around.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. I mean, I'll tell you more about it later.
Yeah.
But it's all good though. Don't get me wrong. So what you been up to? Anything?
No, not too much. Except I was watching the video, but where they got you fly on your plane and you got the camera on your end and you see the plane.
Oh yeah.
That you're in the middle and you see it as you're going around.
Yeah.
Can you hear
And
me,
brings
John?
Yeah, I hear you, Sparky. I don't
can't-
see you, but I hear you.
I can't get the camera going. Let me see. USB, it's plugged in because you're hearing me. Video settings. And there it is. Okay. All right.
Hey, Peter. Welcome.
there's Peter back. Yeah.
There we are.
There we are.
All right.
All right, you're at the home base. I see the Monado there.
Yeah.
So you bring some planes back from Dayton, Ohio?
Yeah, I did. Brought back the high roller. Been working on my Thunderbolt molds and stuff. I'm not sure I'm gonna build a Razorback though. Here's the Razorback mold.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
I got the bubble top mold and the bottom mold over there.
Now, the molded material you're using is balsa, or what are you using for the shell to go on top of?
Balsa wood.
Balsa wood, okay. It's the balsa wood you don't want to use, basically.
No. This is what you molded on.
I know. I'm saying the choice of wood will be wood you don't really care about, right? As far as
No, it's choice wood. Everything has to be light. Light.
I'm talking about the buck, that wood and the buck.
Yeah, it's just crap balsa.
That's what I meant. That wood. Well, I know the mold has to be, and what you have, the shells are your nice wood. I understand that.
Yeah.
That Monado looks really nice. I remember when you told me I could fly the Monado, I was so excited. That was a pretty plane. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not disappointed in flying the Junar, and come to find out, based upon what you say, you seem to believe that is probably a better flying plane, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what Tom Lake called the Monado at the VSC?
What?
He said it flew like a lowered 49 Mercury.
That's the original though,
Right, that was the original.
which is a Continental I-beam airplane.
Right.
The reason why it flies like a lowered 49 Merc is that the elevators are only that wide.
Ah,
And if you remember, this red one here flew like a lowered 49 Merc because I tried to scale it up and I made it looked proportionally correct. I cut those elevators off and remade elevators for it that were of modern dimension.
cleaned it right up, huh?
Oh yeah, they're twice as big.
Well, I tell you, that original Monado in that purple, what do you have, 7 different shades of purple on it?
Yeah,
It's gorgeous.
this
have
is
a
a real
question.
nice looking airplane as well, isn't it, Charles?
It is. It is really pretty. I was like that close to it looking at it. So it wasn't like from a distance. I mean, it looks really, really nice. Very beautifully finished.
Did you, Sparky, did you do the fittings around the cockpit like you did on the original?
The fittings around the cockpit, meaning what?
On the outside, like the framework for it had a.
No, I didn't put a thing over the top.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Here, I'll get it down. You can look at it. Let me move my dinner here.
Home cooking for a change, right? Right, Sparky?
What's that?
I said home cooking for a change, right?
Yeah, not a TV dinner.
That's good.
But I gotta go back in the morning, so I'm not gonna be on here long. Turn on a light here. This airplane weighs 58 ounces.
Wow.
That's
I don't
gorgeous.
have wheels. I don't have wheels on it right now.
That is pretty.
Yeah, it is pretty. You should see it in person.
I'll get the camera up so you can see it.
All right.
Hey, Carl, thanks for coming in. And Ed, thanks for coming in, Ed. And John, thank you also.
You bet.
Yeah, you're welcome. Laptop looks a little better when it's charged up. I just
Does
thought I'd tell you that.
Yeah, I know.
Here it is. Here it is, close up.
Oh, that's what a shine.
Wow.
What a
Yeah.
shine.
That looks
Pretty-
awesome.
Yep.
Sparky, that does the design well. Let me see the tail feathers on there now, how you got it.
Get some cable here. Yeah.
So it was just needing bigger elevators.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
bet it flies like it looks.
Flies good.
Yeah.
I should enter this at the Nats one time, and if this ain't on the front row, there's something wrong.
That is gorgeous. You did a lot of work on that.
Yeah, I don't fly it much because it is so nice.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you ought to enter that in the Nats.
There's very few mistakes on it. Real gold leaf.
Oh, gorgeous. Hey, are you thinking about going to Las Vegas? You could enter it there.
No, I'm not going to Vegas.
Oh, okay. Well, that does the design proud. You did a good job.
And I got my original Continental, plus I have a big Continental.
Norm Whittle said he has some input into the Continental design. Do you know
No
that?
kidding. Yeah, how that came about is Tom Warden bought his Playboy, took it apart, and built the Monado and the Continental and all them at the same time.
Ah, that's the connection.
Yep.
I got a fly that's trying to commit suicide here.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, the weather here has been in the 90s, mid to or a little bit above for the last couple of days. I think we're getting ready to cool down. I started going into the garage and dragging stuff out of there, but I can't stand it in there for much more than about 15 to 30 minutes. So that's what I'm going to do. Each day go in there for 30 minutes and pull stuff out, get my shop set up.
In order to build an airplane, it only takes an hour a day, but you got to be disciplined.
That's right. I used to say if you just commit to 15 minutes a day, you'll get it done. Because what happens, you get in there, you get into something, you get into it, and you'll
Yeah, but take you 15 minutes just to get your tool started out.
not if you set them up right.
Yeah,
It can be done. I've done it.
yeah.
You just gotta have the dedication to get into your shop once every day, or at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
You make that determination, you'll do it. You'll go in there and start it in 15 minutes, you get into something and you'll wind up in there for 2-3 hours.
Amen to that one.
Well, yeah, but I feel good when I do that because I got something done and it looks good and I'm making progress.
Yeah.
So it's that telling yourself every day you're going to be in there for, even if you just go in and clean off the desk, the workbench. The next day you go into the workbench is clean and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yes, let me acknowledge the people in the chat box.
All right.
Dennis Adamison says, time for a like. I agree. Thank you, Dennis. And Todd Stimson says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Todd. Jeff Riley says, hello, Stunthangar. And Todd Stimson says, the Monado is gorgeous. And Todd, it is gorgeous indeed. I can testify. It's not your imagination. It's beautiful, beautiful plane. you only can imagine how excited I was to learn I was going to fly that. But I guess I'm not disappointed. I flew the Junar, which is, to me, it's the prettiest plane I've ever held in my hand. The Junar. So I came back. I was totally disgusted with all my airplanes.
Yeah, what have you done to fix that?
Well, I've been flying some other airplanes. I have a Chipmunk that's flying pretty good, and the Strega, the red Strega that I've campaigned mostly, I've actually moved the engine. It's a big Stalker 81. I moved that back like 5/8 of an inch. It was really nose heavy, and I'm not done yet, but I hope to go out there and have a really aerobatic airplane when I go out there and fly next time.
How much does it weigh?
It's up to 77 ounces.
Is that without covering?
That's all wheels up. I mean, not fuel, but it's everything in there is ready to add fuel to it at that weight.
Lumber wagon.
Yeah,
Oh,
lumber
you
wagon.
yank
It
yank
is.
your chain there, Charles.
Hey, Charles, why don't you tell him about the other problem you discovered?
Oh, I was remember John, I was telling you how the plane was doing a lot of wing walking.
Yeah.
Well, the lucky boxes are just so worn out that the legs of the flap horn, there's a lot of space, and so between the inboard and outboard flap, I mean, there's just a lot of movement. So when it's just free flying, it's just wing walking. So I'm gonna
wagging his wings.
replace the flaps, which is easy. I'm just gonna take the flaps off of a kit I have. So this won't be that big of a deal.
Quit building Stregas.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They're lumber wagons.
There are. I'm not jumping on your Stragas. A lot of people like it. Myself, I think it's too big, and it's too thick a wing, and too much drag, and it needs a lot of power because of all of that.
Yeah.
And I think there are other designs out there. I mean, if you built, what's Billy's last one? The Bill Worry just. I know you got one, Sparky.
Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Junar.
The
Juno.
Junar or the Thunderbolt. You would be surprised.
Thunderbolt's a big draggy airplane too, but I'm building my 6th one now. I'm going to try to make it under 60 ounces.
Wow. You're gonna
That's the key. Make it under 60 ounces.
You're gonna have to take a trip to Ecuador to get the balsa yourself.
I'm just going to leave the paint off of it.
Put a little dye in the clear, huh?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. For paint, I'm going to dye the clear gray, and I have 4 cans of the real DC 540. I'm going to dust that on and then shoot clear over it and put the markings on it, and that's it.
Ah, that'll be unique. Should be light too.
Yeah, I hope so.
Charles, the Junar would be an excellent one for you to go for.
It needs some changes though, Charles.
Yeah, but you got a friend there that knows what they are, Charles.
I know, and I've flown one.
Yeah.
I'm changing my Thunderbolt.
Go ahead.
My Thunderbolt is not going to be an original Billy Thunderbolt. I'm using my XL wing in it, so it will look more scale-like and have better lift.
Excellent. What you changed?
Shorter nose and shorter tail, but it'll all be the same length. Let me show you what I did. This is the difference between Billy's wing and my wing. And my wing is the Junar XL wing that I got is is a USA 1 wing that's a 1/4 inch thicker, is all it is. If you look here, get this over here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you big. I guess I can't.
What's
Yeah.
up with that, Charles?
I don't understand how Zoom Pro works. I need to spend more time researching it. But when you talk, Sparky, if we all be quiet, you'll stay big the whole time.
Okay, here we go. The Billy wing is that long, and my wing is that long. So instead of having a 19-inch tail moment or 18-inch tail moment, I'll have a 16-inch tail moment like I like. And my nose is going to be just about a 1/4 inch shorter. So I've shortened the nose and shortened the tail moment, but the airplane is the same length, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure I'm going to do a Razorback. That canopy is just a problem. I got this stuff here, and I'm going to go by Dan's tomorrow, and maybe we're going to work on carving that up. But he made that box for me. You saw me shoot the nail through my finger. I put this is my vacuum box. I put some clear on it. I had some Harley Davidson clear. I just put Harley Davidson clear on it. That's what we're gonna make the canopy with.
That looks good.
So what I've done here at home is I sanded the mold buck, got it ready to go, put clear. I haven't done much, not like normal. I finished sanding my elevator stabilizer. Try to get the weight off of it. It's still a little overweight. But that's the way it goes.
So are you thinking of making this a bubble canopy?
I'm not sure.
I'm kind of I like the bubble canopy myself personally. If I was to build one, I'd do it the bubble. Though I know a lot of people like the Razorback, but I had a friend that flew with the 8th Air Force. He flew the bubble canopy, so kind of his daughter.
There's what's left of a finished one.
Oh yes, you put it on a picture frame and hang it on the wall.
It broke off, so it's just what's left of the airplane, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
How did it break, Sparky?
What?
How did it break?
It hit the ground.
Oh, okay. All right.
Even experts hit the ground once in a while.
Well, I didn't hear one way or the other, and I didn't know if
No problem.
it got dropped or stepped on, or if he had a
Yeah.
crash. So
Don't think I was dissing you. I wasn't. I was just making conversation. You know?
yeah.
Okay.
It hit the ground. 2000, I think it was. Let's see, 2007. It hit the ground. I think.
In Gordy's workshop, the tail end of his first Tony is sticking out of the wall like that.
No, it wasn't 2007. It was 2012. I won the pilot's choice with it and hit the ground.
Oh,
Well, what maneuver were you doing?
4-leaf clover.
oh,
Engine quit on the uphill side like this and went over the top and bang, hit the ground on the other side.
couldn't
Oh.
run fast enough. Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough maneuver. You're running an IC motor, right?
PA 75.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, if you don't get, if there's something that causes it to burn a little more fuel than normal, like weather or
Yeah,
air.
the heat was up and I put more nitro in it. Didn't have, I mean, it just burned too much fuel and it quit right on the up leg as it was
Ooh.
going up like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's hard to say from that moment. That's tough.
you know what some guys do, and I've advocated it for years. I first advocated it to Dave Royer and his wife at the Northwest Regionals. She had a plane she's flying called the Demeter or something like that. I mean, the goddess of the fields or gardening or whatever. Anyway, she couldn't get a full pattern. She'd get just before the clover leaf, she'd run out of fuel. She didn't have any more room for fuel in the tank. So what she did, what I had her do is I had her get some Coleman fuel and put a couple tablespoons of Coleman fuel in her gallon of airplane fuel, and that raises the BTUs up, and you'll get. She was able to get the whole pattern after that. Now a lot of the guys at Northwest Regionals do it almost religiously, up the Northwest, Pacific Northwest.
At the Nats Classic, when I flew my Tucker and won Pilot's Choice and the Concourse Award and Spirit of 52 or whatever, I couldn't get enough fuel to finish the pattern. You know how we solved it?
How's that extra fuel line?
A foot worth of fuel line in there, coiled up.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, that'll work too.
Oh,
Did you have any drawing problems for the fuel in that flight?
No,
That's the only thing I'd wonder about because you got a longer draw, But
I run
guess-
pressure. Everything I got I run pressure.
Okay, I do too.
yeah,
but-
that's the old stock car method. So they don't have to come in and refuel. They take a fuel line and zigzag it back and forth to the frame line.
Yeah.
So when they fill up their tank, but they can't do that anymore though.
No, but they can use 2-inch fuel line.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a stipulation on what size the fuel line has to be. It's just bigger diameter.
you might get away
Yeah.
with it for a year. Or they change the rules.
Yeah, there was one stock car driver years ago that when he went through the inspection, they drained the fuel all out of his fuel tank, and the inspector says, "Okay, you can go." He gets in a car and starts it up and drives it out of the inspection.
Well, guys, I just came in to say hello. I gotta go because I gotta drive back tomorrow.
Well, it's good to see and talk to you, Sparky.
Yeah.
Well, drive safe and be careful, Sparky.
Oh yeah, I hope I know Tap Talk's not working right now. Everybody, please don't send me a message and call me and email me. I get bombarded. I know everything about what's going on with the forum. Everybody's trying to help me. I know what's going on. It's broken. That's the last thing to fix, and then I'm done.
I got a question for you, and believe me, this is not complaining. This is just a question because I got a workaround on it. But I'm missing about the latest half of all my private messages, and probably because the room was needed and cut them off, and that's fine because I had stored a lot of my private messages in the PM file. So
Guess what? They're gone.
yeah, that's what I figured.
You can't find them. They're gone. You should have saved them on your computer. There's
Yeah.
not a whole lot I can do. I mean, when I upgraded the software, it does what it wants to do. And I mean,
Yeah,
what I did was, okay, I'll explain it. I typed it out in a post, but I guess nobody's seen it. What happened was our original server that we were on, that I've upgraded like 10 times since I started this this site. was out of space. We were 2 drives and out of space. Plus the C panel could not be upgraded to the new PHP, whatever that was, or the Python software. Anyway, so I said, okay, what do I got to do? And they said, well, you're out of space. Why don't you just take this Stunthangar with an A and start an account on a bigger server? I said, okay, great. So then last month, if you remember, there was a time that was a couple of days that the site was down. That's while it was moving. I was taking all the files from Stunthangar with an E and putting them over on Stunthangar with an A. Then swapped it back so Stunthangar with an E worked. Then the other day, I came back and I swapped the DNS servers over to Stunthangar with an A. And then there was some complaints about, I mean, you guys kind of give me a break. You know, I can't log in or whatever. Don't worry about it. Just, you know, you'll get there. Anyhow, so it was yesterday, I finally swapped over the Stunthangar with an E to the Stunthangar with an A. So now it all works as if it was on the same server. The last step of the process is to finish up this Tap-A-Talk or whatever. The MobiQ settings are to 755, and I can't find the MobiQ folder because of how big the site is. And I'll get that figured out because I just upgraded that software tonight. And then Tap-A-Talk will work again. Then I can shut down Stunthangar with an E and get the money back for the month that I'm owed, or we're owed, or whatever, and then we'll just put it on Stunthangar with an A. But anyhow, that's what's going on. It's been a pain in the butt, and everybody, panic, the site's down, yeah, whatever. What are you gonna do when I say I've had enough and I just say, shut it off?
I would,
We'll just transfer it over to Charles. Let him deal with it.
Yeah.
I suspect that you could probably find a buyer for it when you get ready to shut down.
I've had many offers of the site already.
Yeah.
And up to $10,000.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And I said, matter of fact, I could pull up the email. Her name is Faith Lopez. And they keep wanting to buy my site, buy the site. I said,
probably find a buyer for it when you get ready to shut down.
What they're going to do with it is harvest all the emails and shut the site down already.
Yeah.
So the site's not for sale unless you're a modeler that I know and that is capable of all the, I mean, it's a lot different than people think. You know, it's not just let it run or whatever. There's always a problem. What's up, Dennis?
Hey, Denny.
Hi, Dan.
I was just here to complain to Sparky about Tap-A-Talk.
Too bad. Too bad.
And you know I'm pulling your chain, so.
And I can't get on it either.
Yeah, never worry about it, so. I also wanted to second all the likes, if you will, on that, the Monado. It's always one of my favorites of yours, so.
You got something running in the background?
Yeah, I got a noisy hard drive. I'll go mute here in a minute, but.
Well, I'm out of here anyway, so you guys have fun.
Take care, Spark.
Yep.
All right,
Careful.
see
All
you.
right, Spark, you take care. Drive safely.
Right. Yep. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learned a lot. I I have a message for one of our guys on the what do you call it? The the other the other group there that you're dealing with.
Out there in the chat.
Huh?
Out there in the chat.
Yeah. Arnoldo from Rome, Italy. His is one of the emails that I lost. His and a fella in New Zealand who appears to be a pretty advanced stunt flyer down there. With what he's saying he's doing, he's forming his model for his stunt season, which is coming up. And then there's Phil's friend there in North Carolina. I lost all of those, and so I just wanted to get them, if they see this or hear this, to just send me an email. They should have it, but if they don't, can I give it now?
If you want to, it's up to you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, okay. Well, it's all small letters. It's JOBELCRANK, the number 2 at gmail.com. That's Joe Belcrank, but it looks like Joe Belcrank. So that would get an email to me because I've lost theirs, and I need to be able to get in touch with them. Okay, thanks.
all right. So Dennis, what you been up to? You been flying?
He's got it. You're
Muted.
muted, Dennis. You're muted. Ah, there
All
you
right.
go.
We
There
went
you
out, Wes and I went out every day this week.
Wow.
That's it. And we had a real rash of different weather conditions and everything like that. We were actually, yesterday was the calmest day that I think I've ever experienced. It was absolutely dead calm. I've never seen anything quite like it. And today was better. And today was neat because we wrapped up, just had the airplanes in the car, and it started sprinkling.
Uh,
So it was great. By the time we went to a restaurant there for lunch afterwards, and got totally drenched trying to, getting from the car to the building. So,
Wow.
but yeah, I've been flying. I think I showed you the Barnstormer last week, mostly working with that and having a lot of fun with it. Old timers are fun because they introduce you to things that you're not used to encountering with regular stunt planes and stuff like that. The flapless airplanes, they handle different. The thing only weighs 31 ounces. That handles different, Too bad Sparky wasn't here to hear that. He might have got me a pat on the back for that.
Yeah. 31 ounces is definitely what get his attention.
Yeah. And that means 2 of them would still be less than your Strega. But
I know.
actually, 2 of them would be on par at 62 ounces. That'd be it's Sparky territory. Even for,
I would love to have a 62-ounce Strega.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen. But there's just too much of it. Although I did, boy, it's somewhere it would be deep in the archive somewhere. There was one of our European members took a Strega and really gutted it, and he got the thing down to, with a bolt-on removable wing, he got the thing down to something like 72 ounces.
Wow.
Which I thought was really remarkable. And he was doing things like he took out 2 out of 3 ribs, in the covering area.
Right.
And I think he changed the landing gear. He took out all the air ducting in the nose, I think, and stuff like that. But he did a whole series of things that really, really, scored a nice weight gain. I should say a weight reduction, but a gain on the weight picture. And then we put a very, very light finish on it. I think it was a clear finish. And that was the one thing I wanted to say to Sparky. He was admiring. he did all the appearance judging for classic and old time. Well, not old time, of course, but he did the classic appearance judging at the Nats this year. And he was really taken with Daryl. What's Daryl's last name? From Texas.
But Harmon?
Daryl Harmon? That doesn't sound right. It'll come to me. At any rate, he had a one of the UHP Nobler kits, and he had it covered in tissue and trimmed with tissue. And Sparky was just totally enamored with that. And I was thinking, man, that would be right up his alley to do something like that. He likes a lightweight finish anyway, and then just all if he could use all clear coats and not have to use any pigmented dopes or anything like that. That would play right into his hands from a weight savings, and of course his quality of building and stuff would shine through.
He actually mentioned that, Dennis. He's on his next Thunderbolt. He brought out the plans.
Yeah, I heard that part. He was talking about the very light, we're using the primer as the color coat and stuff like that. So
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that does. And he's got the last of it. I remember you said something about having the last of the good filler.
Yeah.
So the DC 540 or whatever that is.
Yeah.
So. Well, I wonder if it was the last of it, if you're going to leave it on top anyway, and you're not going to be sanding it all up, I wonder if it'd be better off using the modern, the reformulated stuff. It's one of the things they liked about the original formula is that it sanded so nice, powdered up real nice when you sanded it. So
yeah,
but no matter. And I would vote for Razorback in place of Bubble. So
would you?
I heard that comment too, and I would not have a solid reason why, except that I think you see more Bubbles than Razorbacks. So, although what he was talking about having the strange canopy, you don't go to the canopy store and buy a P47 Bubble. It's just simple as that. So
yeah. Well,
I can really understand where he's coming from on that part of it. So
some Razorbacks really look good. I like the Mustang Razorback, the Mustang B.
Yeah, the B and the C, and yeah, they look good. For the most part, I like the bubbles and everything. My biggest problem with the bubbles is the fact is that's what everybody makes. They don't make the Razorback,
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
Show me something I haven't seen before. That's what I guess that's where I'm coming from.
Well, I'm in the back of my mind. I've got a project that I just put in line. Gordy's based on Gordy's KI 61 is Tony.
I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, they towards the end of the war they couldn't get enough of the inline air water cooled engines, so they made it so they could bolt on. They had lots of radial engines, and it was called a KI 100.
Yep.
And it is from the firewall aft. It's a KI 61 Tony, but forward of it they drafted on this radial cowl and a radial engine and taken out the radiator that was underneath it and all that. It's a nice looking airplane, but it's a bubble canopy.
Yeah, there was actually a handful of them. The very first ones that they were made, they actually kept the turtle deck, the KI-61 fuselage. There was just a handful of those, but the primary model was, like you say, it was the bubble canopy.
There we go.
And by all accounts, it was a very, very good, potentially a very good airframe. But by that time,
they were hurt.
The issue was settled.
Yeah.
So they really didn't get a chance to prove itself or anything like that. But
there's another one I've been looking at too, the KI 43.
Yes.
That is, I've never seen one in competition or whatever in modeling. It's a twin engine heavy fighter. Yeah, so a KI 43. Yeah.
Are you sure? I thought the KI 43 was the Oscar. Is it KI 44?
I'll have to look at, maybe I've got the number wrong. The one I'm
Yeah.
thinking of is a twin engine heavy fighter.
Yeah, well, the one I like was the Mitsubishi, I think it was 40 Ki 46 Dyna reconnaissance plane.
Yeah,
Very smooth. I like the one with the unbroken, no step canopy, the smooth nose
yeah,
and stuff like that. But that was one of the very few airplanes they had early on. It flew high and fast and was just about couldn't be intercepted unless they were up there waiting for it, because it flew so high and so fast. By the time they scrambled, they couldn't catch it. So
well, yeah, and towards the end of the war, when the B-29s were bombing Japan, they had problems there. I guess their anti-aircraft wasn't really good at that altitude that the 29s flew at. And so they sent up aircraft after it. There were only a few aircraft that could operate up at that high altitude. And one of them was the Tony, the other one was the Raiden. And I'm not sure, there was one other, that might have been it. But it was such a battle for them. They actually, because like with the Ki-61, the Heinz was kind of wallowing, at that altitude. And so they, instead of trying to shoot the 29 down, they'd ram them.
yeah. Well, they basically, it took them so long to climb and stuff. They had to know like an hour ahead of time that they were coming, or else they couldn't. Like you say, they were just waddling up the last steps trying to get the altitude, and they had basically, once they got there, they had basically one shot. Yeah. So yeah, it was. I guess that was the unappreciated, for me at least, a long time to appreciate just how intimidating the B-29 was because of its altitude performance.
Yeah.
And it could fly so high. So
they just had no way to get that high fast enough. Though they did have the Japanese version of the German Comet, the rocket plane.
Would have had a chance. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know how many of them they had towards the end of the war.
Just a couple. There was like 2 prototypes, and they'd flown. I think they'd flown with gliders. I think they made 1 test flight the same day as Hiroshima, or something like that. Powered flight. So I mean, there was nothing there. So
yeah, they were really hurting towards the end of the war. People often wonder why we bombed them twice, but after the first bomb, they still wouldn't give up. And it took the second bomb for them to know we had more than 1 or 2, and that's when they decided to give up.
Well, they were proud and warrior people who were willing to die for the emperor. And
in their
they had already been, an invasion of Japan would have been profoundly costly on all sides. And they would have had civilians with broomsticks attacking, troops with tanks and everything like that, and they would have not given up. Simply would not give up.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. In fact, the Japanese had never been invaded from the sea or conquered in their entire history. And in fact, what do they call the suicide flyers? The
Kamikazes.
Kamikaze. Kamikaze means divine wind, and the Koreans, who they don't get along with very well, sent a fleet out to invade Japan, and what happened? They were lined up to fight them at the beaches apparently, and what happened was the divine wind, the Kamikaze, came up and sank all or most of the Korean boats, and killed the invasion right there. So
I think it was like a typhoon or something.
Yeah, they felt they were that their emperor really was a god, and that they were they were devoted to him. One of the smartest things MacArthur did, and I'm not a big fan of MacArthur, but one of the smartest things he did when he was in charge of the when we took over Japan, he brought the Hirohito, he brought him into a meeting and he treated him with respect.
Yeah.
The Japanese thought he was going to be killed, and instead he sat down and talked to him about his country and how they could get it back up and running and things like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why the operation went very smooth for the most part, and why Japan is where it is today.
Well, you know, what I learned through history that there really isn't anything such thing as a kamikaze, because when they sent the planes out to destroy the U.S. fleet, they were so far out that they depleted their fuel and they knew they couldn't make it back to the mainland. So they just used their planes as bombers to try to destroy as many of our ships as they could, because they couldn't make it back to land.
You're probably right on that, but they made a conscious decision before they ever took off. They were recruited to fly these flights with no return. So in effect, they were kamikaze at that time, taking on the meaning suicide pilots.
Yeah. And then the other thing that Japan never would have surrendered, because they don't believe in surrendering. They believe their culture, and it goes 100 centuries back, but they fight to the death until the last man standing. And Truman wanted to end the war as quick as possible, and the A-bomb was unfortunately the best solution for that. So
yeah, it took a lot of nerve to sign the order to drop that, I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure
that's what
I'm not sure that anybody could have really comprehended just how much destruction there was. Well, we're going to drop this, it's just a great big bomb. Well, no, it was a hell of a lot more than a great big bomb, and I'm not sure that they would have, if they really comprehended what was going on. On the other hand, how would you like to be the one, say in 1946 or something like that, when the invasion is still going on or something like that? How would you like to be the one at home saying, well, we kept this weapon in reserve?
Yeah.
We didn't use this weapon that had a chance of doing, of making a difference.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's like how could you possibly explain that to the mothers and widows and orphans and all that? So
there would have been
guys. Let's get back to model airplanes, please. I want to.
Well, we are kind of.
I'm sorry. Charles is right.
Off the subject. And you know what? I wanted to share this with people. They're for pencils, and I use them on my X-Acto knives. I put the X-Acto knife through this thing, and it won't roll off the bench and then go through your top of your shoe into your foot.
How do you know this?
Yeah, I experience. So
that's really what you're supposed to wear: steel-toed shoes, Charles.
Well, I had a couple close calls, and then I'm not sure where I got this idea from, but they're kind of hard to get now. I just bought some from Amazon. I couldn't even find them at Staples, and my wife tried Walmart and some other stores, but they had the new ones now are higher tech, and they kind of shape to your fingers and helps the kids write. But I wanted a triangle because it won't roll. It'll just knock over and it stops. It won't roll. So. Safety tip is this, and in our after party last Monday, I showed the guys, and I didn't meant to bring it up, but I got these sanding sticks, not sanding sticks, but it's a sander. Maybe I'll get a chance to retrieve them. But I just, I was just thinking, so many times I'm thinking, oh, everybody knows this, or everybody knows that, and it never seems to surprise me that no, people don't know everything that you think everybody knows that. So this is a safety tip. I like it. It keeps me safe, and I'll get those sanding sticks. You can get them from Woodcraft. I bought mine from Rockler Wood Store. and they come in two different sizes. I don't know what I'm just talking about, but it'd be better to show you. But let me catch up on the chat box. The last thing was Jack Snavely. He said, hi, y'all. Hi, Jack. Thanks for coming in. And Michael Gill says, yes. To start with, they didn't believe me. Excuse me, they didn't believe we had more than one. Yep, that's what Dennis was saying. And then Jeff Riley, it's too bad that it took two of them to do the convincing. Yes. And then Jeff Riley says, Charles, that's what the slots in the table saw are for. Yes. Jeff Riley, he actually builds off his table saw. You know, it's a really flat surface. And so he uses it in their table saws, have those slots. So that keeps his exacto knife safe. Hey, Steve, thanks for coming in.
Hey, man.
What do you got there? Oh, a curve. That's an idea.
Take a number 11 at knife, you know, or a basic number 1 knife, I guess it is. Put it in a vise and hammer it a couple of times and bend it. It won't roll.
Very good idea.
That's for the people like me who are too cheap to put 50 cents into that little triangle. All right.
But
You're trained well, Denny.
That's very ingenious. That's like KISS big time. Keep it simple.
Yeah, actually, I remember seeing that in I think it was in a model builder magazine. Right, got to be back in the 70s. Somebody was talking about doing that, and you know, like you say, the knife starts rolling, and it's like, how do you move your feet? You know, where do you move your feet? So
yeah, especially if you're barefoot, you have to go out in the middle of the night to check out see how the epoxy job glue up went. You know, I go out there in my pajamas sometimes to check on a glue up. And you'd hate to have that happen. You meant to be only in there for a minute, and you're in there trying to mop up all this blood, you know.
Yeah, my dad did do that, by the way. He did take one of the scalpels, the flat handle, it doesn't roll or anything like that, set it on the edge of the table, and the thing did a flip and did a perfect dive into the top of his foot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pulls the knife out, and big old gush of blood, and his buddy there is with him. He says, "Hey, you better jam it back in. Stop the bleeding." And then he started carving a piece of balsa wood to stuff it in there. I mean, anything, you know. But you're exactly right. But the only saving grace on the whole thing is that, you know, that was one of those surgical scalpels with the sterile blades and everything like that, and it was literally a brand new fresh blade. He had just put it in the handle, set the handle down into his foot. So, and luckily he didn't suffer any long term or anything like that, or really any short term injury. It's too bad he's not. That was a story. If you knew my dad, that's a story you had to have him tell. All right, because that was one of those stories that kept getting better every time he told it.
Well, you know what you do when that happens, don't you? You just get some toilet paper, put it on there, and wrap it up with duct tape, and you're good to go, man.
Yeah, well, that's it. I guess that's why we always have to keep the duct tape handy, right?
You squeeze it closed and get a little light CA and put it on there and glue it shut. I've done that.
Yeah, so I recently did that. I have an injury. I got cut with a Zona saw, and my wife, she just put out some CA on there, and it's not going to scar. I can tell by the way it's healing up. It's not going to even be a scar. So I definitely am a big time believer now in CA. Sparky first told me about the CA years ago, and I called him and texted him. I said, "Hey, that thing works good." He goes, "I know." He goes, "It's probably not even going to scar you." I sent Sparky a text on my phone of the initial cut, and then after I put the CA, and he goes, "That's not even going to scar, Charles," and it's not.
Yeah, but you're supposed to use Flex CA.
Okay.
In an emergency,
I don't keep Flex CA in my.
Your
I don't want my plane to
kit.
flex. I don't use Flex CA.
Well, wait a minute. If I'm going to cut myself, if I don't even get a scar out of it, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I I know
You
girls.
gotta have those scars for bragging rights.
Yeah, what the saying?
Flex
Girls.
CA will stay on longer.
I didn't quite catch that, Steve.
Flex CA will stay on longer.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you was pulling my leg. I figured there wasn't such thing as Flex CA.
I was talking to Bob Smith,
Yeah.
and his biggest customer is some medical place for Flex CA.
Wow.
Well, I thought
They use it
CUA
at the
was
hospital,
originally
too.
developed as an emergency medical product.
Yeah. And he said the Flex CA that we buy isn't medical grade because the only difference is that it has to go through different testing and it would make it so expensive nobody would buy it. But it's the same out of the same batch as the stuff he makes for doctors and hospitals and everything else. So well, that's what he told me.
On the chat box, Mike Rigel says the thought of that sends shivers up my spine. And
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
Mike Rigel says I've heard that surgeons use CA.
Yeah, they do here at the hospitals instead of stitches now. You know, if it's nothing too deep, you know. I've had it done, you know, where it's, you know, you don't have to worry about going back, get the stitches out.
Yeah, it
Burn-
on this
It
cut.
burns like crap though. That's the only bad thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
when I pinched my finger there working on the car last year and I cut it so bad. I just put a drop of medium on it, squeeze it together, and waited till it smoked, and I started screaming.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
use the old CA that won't kick off because I used old CA on this, so it didn't kick off really quickly. It was just a real slow burn. It was tolerable.
I did that with my daughter once. She had bought some nail extensions, you know, fingernail extensions, and one of them popped off, right? And she, you know, frazzled, oh, what am I doing? What do I do? I said, I got the plan. Dad'll fix this. And I put it on there, and she said, oh, and then her eyes got real big. That's really hot. Oh shoot, I forgot that, you know.
Yeah, that it does kick off.
Yeah, when it kicks off like that.
I'm sorry.
You know,
Hey, hang on a second.
well, my
Tom, what's your shirt
grandkid,
say, Tom? Says this is how.
That's how I roll.
All right. Oh, very cool. I love that. You know, I can really appreciate that because my Strega was doing a lot of rolling. I don't know if you heard, but I discovered that the lucky boxes that the flap horn goes in, there was just so much worn out space that the flaps were just moving, and that's why
Really?
my plane was wing walking.
Huh.
I mean, I think that's what it is. I'll fix it and see if that makes a difference, but I really think that's what I was seeing. The wing
My
walking.
daughter got me this shirt.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
It is.
Now I interrupted somebody. Who did I cut off?
Who knows?
You're the boss. You know, whatever you say, it's not cutting off. So.
All right.
oh, I was just gonna point out that one of my grandkids got a little bit of a cut on his forehead, and they had to take him to the emergency room, and that's what because there's not much to stitch up there.
Anybody
So they
married
use
to a
CA glue to glue
alcoholic
that
who
together
can
and put a
translate
band-aid on
that
it.
for me?
send
Hang
him
on, Steve. Hang
home.
on. So you're cutting off.
So-
You're cutting into Carl.
No,
Carl, your internet is slow. You're talking slow. And I know. I saw you this
Okay.
morning. I know you don't talk slow, but your internet connection is making you talk really slow.
Okay, did you catch what I just said?
No, not really. Something about your grandkid going to the hospital.
I said my grandkid got a cut on his forehead, fell off and hit the table over the house or something, And so they went to the emergency room, and I saw they did was pinch it, put CA glue on it, and put a Band-Aid on it, and they came home.
Hey, guys.
No?
Hey, yeah,
Okay.
well, we got his tick, Carl, and I heard that, and I think everyone else caught it too.
But
Hey,
they
Lynn.
still charge you $1,000 for that.
Yeah. The office visit's still gonna get their money. So, Lynn, what's going on with you, Lynn?
Oh, not a heck of a lot. I'm reading this stuff on Stunthangar about Brodax. What do you got? What have you heard?
I think Steve was telling me just yesterday that he heard that it's gonna be a real thing, right, Steve? Well, actually, Denny, do you know about what's going on with Brodax?
Well, I'm the one that said last week that I could never believe they'd ever have it in Buzz's backyard, and lo and behold, there is a message. It's on the Brodak website, and they
That's
will have a renewal of the Brodak fly-in Buzz's backyard, just as they always did.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, the date to be determined.
We ain't gonna believe you anymore, Dennis, after saying that they were never gonna do it there.
I wouldn't believe me either. So. No, seriously, I thought Buzz was completely over it, and was not interested in doing anything at all with model airplanes or anything like that. Apparently, what the other story, I'm not even sure what the sort, maybe it was one of the comments on there, is that I had heard before that there was a group in Carmichael's trying to put together a contest, but it wasn't going to be at the Brodak's backyard. It was going to be
at the airport.
Yeah. And then it sounded like it was going to be the airport. Actually, there was another site that wasn't the airport that somebody had mentioned.
Okay.
And that was I heard that at John's Memorial last September. And apparently and then somehow it gravitated to the airport, and the airport was not willing to shut down for a week to do they would go 3 days tops. And you could do a nice meet, obviously, in 3 days, but you couldn't do a Brodak client in 3 days. So,
okay.
Well, maybe the Chamber of Commerce got with her, because they were saying that the town of Carmichael's wanted that back so bad because it brought so much money into the.
Well, I can believe that, and I can believe that it would have gone through the chamber. I know John and Sandy Bruce, John's business manager. They were big players, and of course in the local Chamber of Commerce and everything like that. So they would have had a direct line of communication there. So I guess that's what it is. I haven't had a.
Maybe they,
apparent. Okay, I
together to help you mow and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it was Alan Goff's comment in the Stunthangar in the main forum, the posting on the Brodak Fly, and Alan Goff posted something, and he has apparently talked to Buzz directly, and that's where I think that's where the 3 day versus 7 day thing came from and everything like that. Yeah, but they've already signed up Will Davis and Mark Wise to lead the event again. So
that's just awesome.
Yeah, so I'm sure that they'll get the other players, Phil Cartier in combat, and Paul Smith with the racing events, and who I don't even know who was running the carrier events. Or you know that, Len?
Oh, let me think now.
Yeah, but
I was only involved in the carrier the last time I was there, so I'm not really that familiar with it. But
yeah, I'm not even sure
the guy.
Yeah.
I don't remember the guy's name. I know who it was, and I can't.
That means Half-A Stunts back.
Could be.
That could be.
Yeah.
I know Lynn's ready for that.
I'm hungry.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim. Man, good to see you, Jim.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Yeah, how'd you find out about us?
What's that?
How did you find out about Stunthangar Video Hangouts?
Oh, I've been aware for a little bit. First time I tried to get on us.
That's awesome.
Well, that is fantastic.
We're gonna have to go hide someplace else now.
Yeah, well,
Good to see you, James. Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
hey, Len, are you gonna
Yeah.
try to come to the Detroit contest?
When is it?
August, what, 14, 15?
Yeah, 14, 15.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll let us across just for
Mm.
pleasure. We have to have a good reason to be there.
So far, they haven't, they've only
Tell
opened.
tell 'em
the
you're
border
running away
when-
from your wife.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Mission of mercy.
Yeah.
Tell Naomi she's got to bring me a care package of that coffee.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
had a
I'm not,
headline down. They had a headline down here said they were going to open the border either the 21st or the 24th of August. They bumped it back.
Yeah.
okay.
They were going to open it sooner. Now I have a cousin that has a cabin in Canada up on one of the lakes, and they haven't
it's-
been able to get up there for
Yeah.
year and a half.
And basically what we were told, or what I've heard anyway, is that we're only allowed to come to the US starting on, I believe it's the 7th, but not for pleasure, only if you have not for just going to fly model airplanes. That's not going to do it.
You
Well,
representing
we'll have to-
Like
Canada?
All right. Well,
if it's
just
family, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just guarantee you're not having any fun, and that'll be not for pleasure. Then.
Yeah, that's right. I'll tell them I'm going to break the airplane, bring it back in 1,000 pieces. There won't be any fun at all. I promise.
Yeah.
Tell
I
them you're
would try
representing
to think of
Canada in
something.
an international contest.
You know what? We're headed in the right direction, but I just don't know when yet. It could be a while yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they'll open up, let you across, and
Yeah.
you can come for the Detroit. That Detroit contest can't be that far from you. Couple
Oh,
hours.
it's not that far. It's not that far. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll talk to Brad Lapointe and we'll make some decision on it at some point, and find out what we can and can't do.
Yeah. Apparently, at least from this side, going that way, you still have to have your vaccinations, and you have to have a clean test within 72 hours of border crossing. So I don't know, how much
Well, that's exactly it. That's what it was. I heard you guys are allowed to come here. We're not allowed to go there yet.
right.
That's what
right.
it is. So we can't come anyway. There's no way. We're not even
Yeah.
allowed to go there yet.
Go down to
I-
the southern border. You won't have any problem.
I got, yeah, that's true. I had to walk across with my stunter and my jug of fuel. No problem.
Well, just
Hey,
walk
come on
across
over.
there and ask for asylum.
I'm just, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pray and hope that by next spring, we can get down for either Brodax or Joe Knoll or something. That's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping right now.
Yeah. I'm not sure of anything.
Nothing sure, but we're gonna keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best for next spring.
That's right.
I was gonna say, if there's a chance you can get across, come across, because you don't know what variant's gonna hit next and when they shut everything back down again.
Don't even go there. We want to hope that doesn't happen. Otherwise, the whole
Oh, yeah.
thing, if it goes too long, the whole thing will just be a bust. There won't even be anybody doing this hobby.
Mhm.
I just think that either they should have vaccination parties and COVID parties. And either you get antibodies either way and get this shit over with. If you don't think it's gonna hurt you, go to a COVID party.
Yeah.
Get it over with.
Hey, wait, maybe that's it. Maybe as part of our contest, maybe we could have a little side booth and,
Yeah, have a COVID
Yeah.
party.
no,
No,
not a
have
COVID,
shots.
have a vaccination.
Have a
You
vaccination
have to
booth at
be
our
vaccinated
yeah.
then or
Yeah.
something like that. Link it to something like that. You might actually get some.
That's a great idea, Dennis.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Where do you come up with this stuff?
Well, remember, I'm the same guy that came up with the idea that we'd never go have another Brodax. So
Yeah, well, that's true.
that wasn't that long ago. So
Hey guys,
Don't
let me
worry.
interrupt you guys. I want to give Jim a chance to introduce himself. I know
Okay.
Jim, and John knows Jim, and I don't know if anybody else knows who he is. Jim, will you go ahead and tell us about yourself and maybe what you're working on? or maybe show a plane of your Asperex or something like that. It's Asperex, right?
Apteryx.
Yeah, that's correct. The Apteryx. Yeah. I've been flying model airplanes since 1952. So,
Wow.
and my first stunt contest was probably in 1953, I think. I think I won junior stunt. I got farther through the pattern than anybody else did when I crashed. So, but I fly a little bit everything else. I fly speed and free flight, and I was one of the first multi-channel radio flyers in Utah, probably one of the first one or two or three or four maybe anyway. But so, and like I say, I've been around the block here for quite a bit. You know, I know most of the guys around, or a lot of them there in the stunt circles and the speed circles, and quite a few in the free flight areas also. John Miller, of course, used to be one of our club members there, but he moved down to Delta, Utah now. But we're still see him every once in a while. He comes up and buys an engine from me every once in a while, and we're going out flying tomorrow morning with Brent Williams and Gordon Delaney and Roger Kramer. Plan on having a little flying session tomorrow morning. So,
Did Bart go home?
yes, Bart has gone home. Well, he went to California, I think, and then he's gone home. But he had some deals there. Bart Kopinski, what you're talking about. But yeah, he spent some weeks with Gordon Delaney. They were building a new Pathfinder for him. So
Did he get it done?
yes, yeah, got it done. Although, and he said he's going to do a little work on it. Some of the things on the finish didn't come out right. He's going to do a little rework on that when he gets home. But it's working though. So
Hey, James, what part of Utah are you at?
I'm in Salt Lake City.
Okay, so where do you fly at?
I fly normally up in Layton, Utah,
Okay.
near Gordon Delaney's place, at Ellis Park in Layton. That's where basically most of our control line flying is, here in the state. There's a couple guys that fly down in Utah Valley, but I've never been to any of their flying station, their site down there. I like to travel around most all over the western states here to California and up in Oregon and such, and Denver when they were flying having contests there too, but unfortunately they lost their flying site there, so they haven't had an annual contest.
Wonderful.
Do you know they have any flying fields up around Logan?
Not any control line that I know of. There is a RC group up there, Bridgerland RC Association or something, but up in that neck of the woods. But so far as I know, no control line up there anymore. There used to be at one time, but not anymore.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for your introduction. Appreciate that. I met you at, I think the first time I met you was probably at the Bob Palmer at Wooden Arrows or the Joust. And then I saw you was at the VSC in 2020. But you've always been very cordial and nice to me and answer my questions. And we have good conversations.
Yeah, I love the hobby.
Oh, you do. It's
and,
guys,
and the people.
I finally met Jim just a few weeks ago in Muncie, and it was my pleasure. I was looking forward to that. I haven't made it out to BSC yet. I think Jim's out there a lot, so I haven't had a chance to meet before. So, yes, I met him well enough to pick on him a little bit ago. So,
VSC, that's always one of my go-to contests. That's
yeah.
that's a great meet. You know, good blend of competition and just camaraderie. You know.
Yeah. Well, I've been ready to go to it twice and had some bad luck twice. So let's see if next year's maybe a charm. So
Hope to see you there. I'd say I plan to be there. Yeah. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Are you considering the Las Vegas contest here in November, Jim?
I am considering it, and one problem I have with Las Vegas is on weekends their hotels are so high and everything, and
Well, he's negotiating a price break.
yeah,
on hotels.
Yeah, like say Motel 6 is like $110 a night, and
yeah, but at least they leave the light on for you.
Maybe.
That price, they better.
I hope to make it there for the Vegas contest. I went to the first ones they had out on the dry lake bed, and that didn't work out terribly well. The wind came up about 10 o'clock in the morning each day. So and I do mean wind. So but I know the people down there, so it's a good bunch of guys down there too.
What airplane am I seeing the back end of?
What was that?
Are you building a plane right now?
Right now, I've stunt plane I've got going is it's going to be a profile stunner. I've got an old wing from a Sultan that I flew years ago, about 20 years ago actually, a wing and tail, and I'm building a profile of it. Originally had a PA-51 in it on a pipe, and now it's going to be a twin with two FP-25s.
All right.
Oh.
So that ought to be an interesting deal. I love the little twins. I've flown Gordy's, all of Gordy's twins quite a fair number of times, and so Gordon Delaney's, and it is.
Tell them about the first flight too much done at that Arizona Buckeye when the retracts fouled up.
On what airplane?
The too much. Way back in the olden days, you're flying it, and the retracts wouldn't come down after the flight.
Oh, yeah. Gordy's first twin there had retractable landing gear on it, and Bart Lipinski built a replica of it, but Gordy flew the first flight down at Buckeye, and in the middle of flight, he hollered for me to come in and fly it. He wanted to see it from the outside of the circle, so he came in and we swapped handles, and I went back. I finished the rest of the flight out, and one engine quit, and the landing gear is still retracted. And then the other engine quit, and it's still retracted. And I started whipping. This is on 70-foot lines with you know,
a humongous airplane.
Yeah, with a 900 some odd square inch airplane and stuff, with the 29 and the 35 Fox on it, and I am whipping, and it seemed like forever, but I'm sure I've whipped at least close to 2 minutes, and wow. I finally hollered at Gordon. I says, if you don't want this thing landed on the belly, you better get in here right suddenly. So he came in, and I whipped as hard as I could and climbed up to about 10 feet elevation and started into a glide, and we swapped the handles, and he started whipping, and I went out of the circle, and he whipped for almost 2 minutes again. And he actually started to decided that the landing gear wasn't going to come down. So he started gliding in for a landing, and then he heard, and the gear came down. So
Wow.
Wow.
it was an interesting situation there on that first flight on Gordy's Too Much. Yeah, that was an interesting deal. The airplane really flew very, very well. It was a pretty amazing flying airplane, and Gordy's Gemini then was a collaboration between Gordon and myself on that. I drew the plans for it, and most of the aesthetics were mine, and the aerodynamics was a compilation between the two of us. But, so I really love the twins, and you know, hope this one flies just as well as most of the other ones I've flown. So.
Wow.
Oh,
And that was at a contest. If he'd had to land out on that belly,
Oh, yeah.
put it in for appearance points.
Yeah,
So I heard somebody once told me that they're not supposed to judge hangar damage. You know,
yeah. And like I say, that was the first flight on the airplane, and he had a Tatone dethermalizer timer on it, working a micro switch to retract the gear and bring it up and down. And evidently, when the engine was running, the timer, the vibration made the timer not run. And so most of the time when the airplane was flying, the timer was not running. It was set for something like, 5.5, 6 minutes or something like that. But it ended up somewhere near, probably 10 minutes, in the long run when it finally did come down then. So lots of fun.
I'm impressed that you would actually come in and out of the circle when someone's whipping a plane. I mean, that's what amazes me. To actually,
Yeah.
I would have just sat down and not wanted to go out anywhere away from the pilot whipping.
Well, in this case, you're on 70-foot lines, and whipping it, it's not going very fast. So to run into a circle there without an engine running or anything was not really a big issue. Well, when I first went out there with it, he flew the airplane up high and wanted me to come in. So he was fully aware that I was coming in, and because he called me in, and it was we did it as safely as we could. That was pre days when we had a safety thong, of course. It was a little different than nowadays, but we weren't trying to be unsafe about the whole thing by any means. I certainly didn't want to hurt his airplane. He didn't want me to.
he didn't want to hurt it either.
Yeah. So it was interesting there. I'm glad I got to fly part of the first flight there. So like I say, I've had Gordy's kind of the you might say the king of twins. You might say he's had more experience with twin engine stunters than probably anybody else on the planet, really. But and I feel fortunate that I've been involved enough there to where I've got to fly all of them too. So at any rate,
thank you, Jim. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Yeah, Jim is kind of giving up on speed a little bit, though, aren't you, Jim? It's just too hard to run around that pylon.
I'm not giving up. I just
Can't do it anymore.
some of the airplanes are getting faster than the pilot. I'm 82 now, so I have a right to
That's
be
right.
having problems. But
You've had a good run at it, so to speak.
yeah, well, I say I first flew a speed bottle at the 1955 Nationals.
Wow.
So I flew half A speed senior. So I got a second place, but
So you've been going fast for a long time.
I've been doing it for quite a while. I've flown most all speed events,
That's
classes,
amazing. Good for you.
including F2A. I got to go to the World Champs in Kiev in 1998, and
Good for you.
I was the alternate on the team, but Will Nomura couldn't make the trip, so I got the call and did make a fool of myself. I got a
What
nice.
was that little yellow Formula 40 you had? You held the national championship with that for a while.
I held the national record in Formula 40 for 9 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've held a speed record and a couple times, and the Formula 40 record a couple times, and so, but I've got my share of, Nats trophies and things. I did fly. The only speed event I flew at the Nats this year was Sport Jet, and I managed to get a third place on that, but I wasn't feeling real well. I had problems at the Nationals. I think I had some issues with I think it inflamed kidneys or something. I was having problems with my lower back, and not only that, I had to make a trip to the restroom every half hour, it seemed. So I wasn't feeling real well for the Nationals this year, but I still enjoyed it. So.
You've won a classic too, right, Jim? At the National.
I've flown classic at the Nationals 4 times now. I was first and second and sixth, and we won't say what I was this year. My humongous in old time got kicked around in the wind bad enough that I just wanted to fly the maneuvers and not try and make them pretty. And that's about all I accomplished. So, and not only that, but the airplane was very light, and it got kicked around a lot, and nobody's fault but my own.
How'd that engine run for you though?
Oh, the engine ran fine. That wasn't the issue at all. I have a Magnum 36 on this 38-ounce humongous, and I flew it in both old time and classic because the wind was blowing enough that and I hadn't flown the Aptrix for a while, so I just elected not to fly it at all. Would have liked to have, but I flew a practice flight Sunday evening, and it wasn't fun, and I put it away. So
I think it's a big feat just to get a 38-ounce humongous. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, well, sitting right in front of me in the pits was Jim Lee's humongous with a Fox 59 in it, and I have a Magnum 36 in mine.
That's amazing.
And
wow.
It really flies very, very well under good conditions. It's a very fun flying airplane, but I fly at 4,500 feet up here, and the airplane was quicker down there, and and I didn't get any practice at all, so it was
handful.
It was what it was.
Yeah.
So the conditions weren't what I wanted to deal with too much, so I didn't.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. But Joe Gilbert showed what he could do there and win with a ringmaster and stuff. So and his classic airplane there too. Yeah.
Joe Gilbert shows all of us what he can do. It's
yes,
quite a sight to behold.
watching him fly that ringmaster is I mean, it shows his talent, and he's a very good flyer, and one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet. Him and his wife, they're the whole team,
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colleen, she's a sweetheart. Really
Oh
nice.
yeah, and I guess at the World Championships when they went last time there, they were surprised that he had his wife as a pit crew. That opened a few eyes, I think. I understand at the World Championships. But,
Oh wow.
so,
Hey Walter.
at any rate, Joe and I, we both share a hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So
Cool.
but that's been a long time ago. So, but now he lives in Sepulpa, which is just a suburb of Tulsa. So, anyway, that's my story.
All right. Hey, thank you, Jim. Don't mean to put you too much on the spot. So Walter, what's going on with you?
I'm just glad to be here. And I'm getting to the age where the phrase where I'm just glad to be anywhere is starting to be about. So, and it's a real pleasure seeing you guys again. And you're right, Joe makes us feel like we can still compete at our age, maybe a little bit. And so I'm putting together a one of John, is it Tom Dixon's profile vector, and
Very good airplane.
yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit. It's going to give me a chance to practice a little bit and try to be a little bit better flyer. So that's what's going on. And you met my pit boss there. So
All right. Very
yeah.
nice.
Right.
I
So
think that's
we'll be
great.
around.
It's
Glad
good
to see you
I
guys.
pit for you. Yeah, I used to ask my wife to pit for me sometimes because I couldn't find anyone to fly with. And I'd have a new plane, and she knew I was excited to take the maiden flight. So I just go, would you please come out? Would you like to be out there all day? I go, I know, but we'll go in 2 cars. You could just get me up a couple times, and then maybe someone will show up. So she would pit for me and be my stooge. And it's great to have.
That's why she won't pit for you. You call her a stooge.
I had I've been dealing with, and my wife has never really been involved in my hobby or anything like that, but she just retired this year and she's starting to go stir crazy. And she actually volunteered to help, to pit me a couple of times, some
Awesome.
days when Wes couldn't go out and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Well, I can go with you.
Perfect.
I mean, I appreciate your wife doing that, but there's a big difference when I'm flying glow.
Yes.
Talking about a woman getting oil and stuff on her, where your plane's all clean. It's not the same.
Charles,
thing.
I got a story to tell you.
Yeah, well,
I got a story. Back in the 70s, after I got out of college, I started flying again just for a very brief period of time. And one of the things you have to learn very quickly is do not let your wife stand directly behind the engine while it's running. It's an absolute disaster in personnel
Tension.
PR.
That's true. I know, especially when they wash their hair and they got their makeup on and all that, and then you're gonna just.
Oh yeah, this beautiful white blouse all of a sudden is just soaked in oil. So.
Oh, nice.
Stand to the side, but that was a mistake I made. So don't let it happen to you.
Yeah.
I actually, you talk about that. I was down in Indy helping somebody fly there. He had, I forget what it was. It was an upright engine airplane with an OS on it with the back of the muffler where you could rotate it.
Okay.
And he had it blowing off, maximum direction away from the airplane, which meant the pit man was at ground zero.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, how far away from this thing can I get, and still hold it?
Yeah.
So, here I am. I built my electric airplanes, and I'm still going home smelling like an oil factory.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Yeah,
Happens
smelling like
die
French
hard.
fries. So,
My wife, I don't know how, I just don't realize how lucky I've got it. My wife launches
absolutely.
anything, holds anything.
Yep.
She even launches my 90 ship at 88 ounces and helps me turn that over and launch it. Holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
You're a
it.
lucky
That's
man.
it.
Swinging a
He's
15-inch
golden.
prop.
You
You
are
are
a
one
lucky
blessed
man.
man, Lynn. That's awesome.
Oil flying out the back and all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I
Looks
think
like
I better give her another thank you tomorrow.
I
looks
think
like a
so.
German Shepherd after it's going swimming. Shake, shake, shake.
When I first started flying with Wes, he was flying an airplane PA-65, with a pipe and everything like that. And I'd launch for him, and I kept noticing my left sneaker looked like it had been through a war.
Oh, yeah.
Right about where the exhaust pipe was blowing down directly onto
Yep.
it, and it would
Yep.
get all oily, and it would pick up all the grease, gunky dirt and everything like that.
Oh,
Right
my
shoe
God.
looked brand new, the left shoe looked like it had been through a war,
Yeah.
So that's when I first started working on them to build electric. So what can I say? So
I was just thinking about Gerald Wimmer's wife. Now he flies diesel, so his
yes.
wife got to get
Oh, wow.
recognition. So we
Another
recognize
trooper.
Gerald Wimmer's wife. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for doing that for him. That's awesome.
That is awesome. That and I understand that she actually likes the diesels too. So
Stinky diesels.
Hey,
yeah.
My wife loves glow. She doesn't know any different.
Oh my God! Don't press your luck, Lynn. Don't get
not a
don't
diesels.
say, she might sneak in.
No,
and
I'm not getting a diesel. The heck with that. It's
Yeah.
never gonna happen.
What impressed me is when I went to a contest up north from here, there was a husband and wife team, and he was flying his combat ship, and when the plane was getting ready to run out of fuel, the husband would give a signal to his wife. As soon as the plane ran out of fuel, she would run out there and just catch it, snatch it out of the air. I go, oh my gosh, this was unbelievable. I was impressed with that.
That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Jim's been known to do that a couple of times on stunt ships, inverted landings.
Really?
What
So-
a pro-
Haven't we all?
He's got it down. He grabs that sucker and it, guy brings in, gets it about pattern height. Jim will grab that as it goes by the lines, whip it around, and
You know what impresses me is a guy that'll run out into the center of the circle and catch a stunt ship when it's coming out of the wing over because the engine quit. That's impressive.
that is impressive.
I've
Wow,
never
you
seen
seen
it
that?
done, but it scares me.
Oh, it scares the crap out of me.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd have the nerve to go try that one, but I've heard that it's been done.
Yeah. I don't know.
I saw
We
a
got
guy catch that stick combat ship. That's the first time I'd ever seen it. That was this year at the Nationals. I guess those guys are used to that though. So, the pit crew, after the engine quit, and instead of going further, he just reached out and grabbed it. So I thought that was pretty impressive.
I was the event director at the unlimited sailplane at the Nationals, and I was, for whatever reason, I was walking along the landing zone and walking by, talking to people, whatever. And I looked up, and there's an airplane, an unlimited sailplane, like 120 inches of, probably 4 or 5 pounds and everything like that. And the guy got out of control on his landing. And the airplane is up there and kind of ready to, tumble in and everything like that. And I just nonchalantly went, bam, and grabbed it out of the air so the thing didn't crash. And I handed it to him. This
Nice.
is, hey man, I says, this is full service event directing here, baby. So
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
it was just the darndest thing. I mean, it's not something you set up for, and it was just happened to be there. And this airplane was literally out of, it was out of control, barely moving. If it had any momentum or anything like that, it would have been. They just basically grabbed it out of the air. So
That's
I
amazing.
always thought that was
Wow.
cool.
yeah, it was, it was funny, but
It's
that's
an instant,
nothing. That's nothing like catching a stunt plane. That's for sure. So
it's an instantaneous feeling when you see something coming toward you and think, I can grab that, and you just do it.
well, you got choices. You can grab
Yeah.
it, or you can duck, or or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. But if you feel like you can grab it, you think you can save it, you're gonna probably do it. That's right.
Well, that's
Didn't
it.
something like
That's
that
it.
in Mad Max a couple of years back when the guy tried to catch the boomerang? Remember that? I don't remember.
No, didn't see that.
That little kid or somebody tried to catch no, it was one of the guys. I forget the exact way it went, but the kid threw the boomerang and the guy reached up, tried to grab it, took his fingers off. That was in that
Geez.
movie Mad Max. If you'd seen it before, you might remember that. That's
Geez. I could believe that happening in a Mad Max movie, but
hey, I got
oh,
something I'll show you guys. Back in the 70s, I had no idea how to clean the oil off of one of those airplanes. And a guy said, "Well, you need to use this stuff." And I'm not advertising either. I just happened to see it across the counter here. I've been using this ever since then. Fantastic.
Wow.
And
I had a guy who used to do that in the 70s too. I remember him doing it. That's phenomenal.
It was cut that oil, and I've always been using it ever since. So
okay.
As long as it doesn't wreck the finish, go for it.
Shows my age.
Well, I always used to use just wipe it off the best you can, and then finish it off with Windex. Windex is really good. Yeah, that was a good a grease cutter. And then Pledge original recipe, the original formula Pledge wax before appearance judging.
Most definitely. That stuff used to work great to make an airplane shine.
It really did.
It
really
did too, and it doesn't anymore.
Yeah, well, they changed to they brought out that lemon oil. The lemon oil formula was no good for it. It wasn't compatible with those finishes. It left it kind of greasy.
The old stuff
feeling
was
and everything.
excellent though.
The old stuff would dry real nice and everything.
I
like
used
that.
I used to polish my Magician with that stuff before every time I went out to fly. It shined like something I couldn't believe.
Well, the cool thing is that it also helped. I believe it helped protect the finish a little bit because it was like wax and water and stuff like that.
Yeah, it worked really good.
Stuck to it, it kind of flowed off it. So
it worked really good. I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah. So.
And they changed the formula. Is that right?
Apparently.
Yeah, they changed the formula over to. I don't know if you can. I haven't used it for so long. I don't even know what it's like anymore. I don't even know if they make Pledge anymore. But
maybe
yeah,
not.
I know the big thing is that's when they started going to lemon oil Pledge, and that was it. It was oil. All right, worked nice on furniture. Didn't do a darn thing for dope finish.
Model airplanes.
Yeah. And so you had to look for the original stuff. So, yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow,
I remember somebody posting a recipe for making your own. There's a certain amount of isopropyl, and there was some soap in it, Dawn, I think, and some water. I think that's about right. But I tried it. It actually worked. It didn't work any better than anything else, but it worked.
Yeah. Well, there were waxes like McGuire's and stuff like that that would give a really good shine if you had the right base and everything like that. But the Pledge finish was almost as good, and it took like no time to do it.
Yeah, you just needed a nice rag and some Pledge and spray it on there and wipe it. It was simple.
And especially if you did it routinely, it
Yeah.
would kind of build on itself, and it was a nice, awfully nice finish.
Yeah, I
So,
agree. Yeah,
so,
I still remember using it.
yep,
The brown, yellow, and white can.
yep.
Here's
Like,
something.
oh, there you are.
Here's a little something that I've tried.
Raise it a little higher. Little higher.
There we go.
Yeah, buy it at the Dollar Tree at for $1.
Okay.
It's glass and home store glass and surface cleaner. And it does a very good job. It sprays on like a bit of a foam, and it cuts the oil very nicely, and it's cheap and it works.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's how you add longevity to your airplanes. You know,
Keep them
wipe
clean.
them down certainly, but you got to deep clean it too. So
I've been
Hey,
using that
Dennis,
spray
you
weight.
don't remember what you told me to use?
Who was that question?
Steve. What is it, Steve?
A battery.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
Steve, you're thinking fast.
Hey, that's what Dennis told me to use, and it works.
So I've been
To
using
do what?
And
Spray weight
I
glass
went from Pledge to
Monaco cleaner.
Monaco cleaner polish.
I've never used that.
Okay.
Is that pretty good stuff?
I don't know. I've never used it. I've had this bottle for 10
Here,
years, and I've never
squirt
used
some on my hand. I'll try it on my airplane.
it. Okay, hold still, Lynn.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Dennis.
hold still. There you go. Give it a
Okay.
shot.
I'll
Yeah.
be back.
No, actually, the reason I never used it is I was always afraid that it would leave a residue and make it hard to like patch or repair or something like that. I wasn't sure what to think about with that.
I got a spot on my new airplane where the paint, I think what happened is the paint blushed just in one little area on the, and unfortunately, I'm not going back and remasking the entire airplane for it. It's not going to happen. So I keep
Right.
rubbing things on it, hoping I can make it shine, but it hasn't happened yet.
Well, yeah, the thing with blush, isn't it the old story? You can just kind of break the surface a little bit and it breaks the blush. That was just surface deep or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. This was spray like rattle can paint.
Yeah.
It wasn't dope. So I don't know whether that's what it is or not, but I'm afraid to do anything with it. Like I'm afraid I'm going to bugger it worse than it is. So
Yeah.
it's sort of and of course it happens to be right on one side of the turtle deck, right? And it's just like, it just drives me crazy every time I look at it.
What was it, clear coat or paint?
It's the paint, just the paint. There's no clear coat on this. This
Is
was
it
the paint I
possible-
always,
I was going to say, is it possible to? Well, it sounds like only other solution would be to mask a patch area or
well,
something
the thing
like
I
that.
find with this paint is if I spray it, right? Every time I spray it, now, like if you let it dry and then spray another coat on later, where the edge of the spray is, it leaves, you can see where you've stopped every time.
Okay, it's basically.
So in
a
other words,
different
I would
color.
have to spray the entire fuselage again just to fix this one little spot. And I'm not doing it. I'm not willing to do that because of course I'm going to add the weight of painting the fuselage all again. And I don't want to do that. I'm already at 71 ounces on this airplane. I don't need any more weight.
Nah, Sparky would yell at you. So.
Yeah, so I'm just rubbing different things on the side of the fuselage, trying to get something that'll make it shine. That's all. It's nice. The color is fine. I just need to make it shine in that area. And it's funny because Sparky keeps talking about some of these guys at the Nats use spray shine. And I keep wanting to ask Sparky, what the hell is this spray shine shit that they're using? Because I can't find it.
Yeah, I think what he's talking about is the automotive clear coats. So.
Okay, but I see what you mean. Okay.
No, they make a spray like for cars and stuff, McGuire's, and
okay,
it's silicone, I think, something. But like new finish,
Yeah.
it leaves You spray it on there and it will shine.
Okay, I might
You know.
try and get some of that. That's a good idea, Steve. Thank you. I've heard about
Hey, have
that
you guys
stuff.
ever tried that SIG cleaner model?
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah,
That always worked real good.
it did.
Model
think-
Magic. Is it
I
Model
think they
Magic? I think they called it.
I think they changed the formula though.
It could be.
Okay.
What, it worked, so they changed it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the deal was, but it worked real good. Then all of a sudden it didn't work real good. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure you've got great finishes on your airplanes, but
Not me.
I don't think I'd go that far.
But thank you very
You're
much,
talking to
Walter.
someone else, Walter.
Appreciate it.
I was sitting outside the other day, just messing with this new plane, and the guy said to me, he says, you know, you ought to just put for farm use only on it. Only. That way you don't have to worry about
Oh wow.
you don't have to worry about the finish, you know,
Yeah,
as
that's a
long
good
as it
idea.
stays,
I
you
like
know,
that. For farm use only.
fuel proof, you know. So that's what I've
Yeah.
done. Farm use only.
That's pretty cold, man.
I remember my first green box, well, first and only green box Cobra. I built it when I was like 16 years old.
I
And
remember that those days. Keep going.
yeah, well, I didn't know anything much. I thought clear was used to seal and stretch out the covering. And I didn't know anything about putting covering on the fuselage. And I didn't know about using a filler or a sealer or anything like that. When I got ready to do the fuselage, here it was, I sanded it good, wiped it off, and got out the brush and started putting the white paint directly to the bare wood.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, it came out okay for a 16-year-old. I mean, you could see all the grain, but it wasn't real heavy. But white is kind of heavy to put on, and when you put it on with brush, you can really get a lot on it. But it flew very well, so I was happy. I was a happy camper.
I was
Well,
lucky. Go
I'm
ahead.
curious about that. I've always wondered about, you always use like just clear coats and maybe a filler coat.
Yeah.
And then finally, start spraying color on and stuff like that. And of course, by that time, you're starting to worry about weight. And, depending on the colors, you get into lousy coverages and everything like that. Has anybody used pigmented dope to do the whole build up, realizing that, the solids in the pigmented dope could perform some of the same functions as sanding sealer or filler or something like that. And as long as you keep working the surface and everything like that every couple of coats and stuff, could you get to the point where you could get at least a fairly good base
We had a guy here in the Salt Lake Club, Jim knows him, Pete Peterson. He moved up to the Seattle area and in Tacoma, actually. He was a master at that. He had a house of color pigments that he'd used in clear dope.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at flying lines, oftentimes they'll have a picture of what his planes he could get that dyed silk span look with it, and he could get a good solid. He liked a metallic purple was one of his favorite colors, and he had some beautiful airplanes that he would do using that. But it was all dope that he used. Now myself, I'm kind of converting over to where I'm looking at using resin and on the fuselage on the wood and scraping it off and then sanding it, putting another coat on it, sanding that, and then go from there with the color. Use that to do the sealing and everything else.
Yeah, I was surprised. Bob Hunt used to do that way back when, and he got away from it because over time the wood grain would come through. You could see, you had airplanes where the surface finish was gorgeous, but if you look through into the color, you could see the wood grain, shiny spots and whatever. And then now apparently he and what his buddy Joe Daly, apparently they did that again this year. and seems to be working well for them and stuff. But I guess I haven't really figured out, what he's doing different. Was it?
He's sealing all the grain with epoxy.
Yeah, that's what he used to do. If you look, I think it's in the big Genesis, the Genesis 46 article. I think he talked about doing that. He used to seal the wood with epoxy, no covering or anything like that. And then he'd scrape it off, sand it and everything like that. And then he'd do his finish on top of that. And the only difference I can think he might be doing is he might be using a different paint now. He might be using epoxy paint or something like that instead of dope. But I don't know.
Wow.
Well, he
Have to
I
gets,
drag
actually
him out.
still have, I
He
still have a
gets
copy
his,
of that article.
he gets his epoxy from Zap, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and well, before it would have been Hobby Epoxy Formula 2, the slow dry stuff, but I can't believe that there's that much difference in the epoxies.
Well, my whole thinking is that you could do that with Class Coat.
You could.
It's an epoxy finish.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just spray the primer on real light or whatever. Instead of spreading it, sand it, hit it with another coat, or use the color. I mean, and sand off the high spots, and now you got an epoxy finish.
Mm-hmm. My dad used to use Hobby Epoxy paint on the rat racers, pigmented colors on the bare wood, 2 or 3 coats, and it was like embedded in the wood that way. And the finishes are very durable. The airplanes are very durable. It looked good. Of course, weight wasn't an issue or anything like that, and they weren't that big or anything like that. So it was easy enough to sand them out. They just weren't that big. The wings were made out of pine. The fuselage crutch out of basswood. It had a little piece of balsa behind the wing on top of the fuselage, and it had a speed bonnet cowl made out of balsa. But everything else was basically, I'll call it a hardwood. I know pine isn't a hardwood, but compared to balsa, it is. And like one coat first coat was really rough. The second coat wasn't bad. If you put a third coat on, it looked really, really nice. So,
well, that Class Coat, you can buy the clear, and you could spray it on with that.
mm-hmm.
If you just wanted to have no pigment,
mm-hmm.
and then sand it, like Bob, he just cards everything off and dries it with with something. But you could do the exact same thing with Class Coat. Just take the clear and spray some on, and then rub it off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wish Bob was here to talk about it, because he's very specific. He likes to use that. What is that? What is the Zap sealer called? The polyester epoxy that they sell.
I don't know. But,
by the way, he's good friends with the guy from years and years.
Was it Zap or West Systems?
It's Hobby Epoxy. Doesn't he use Hobby Epoxy?
No,
he's not Hobby Epoxy. I'm not sure Hobby Epoxy is even made anymore. I thought he was using West Systems.
No, it's that 2-part.
Yeah.
It's finishing resin.
Yeah, it's a finishing resin.
But it's
got a name though.
But it's good. It's sold by Zap.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
this works better.
That's too soft.
That's the same stuff he uses. The Zap, whatever, is a 2-part.
What's the name of that? I can't read the name of it.
That's Bob Smith. It says Riders on it.
I use that for my fiberglass. That's 20-minute, isn't it, Steve?
Yep.
I apply my glass with that, and it works outstanding.
Yeah, I've been using he's got a 2-hour formula. It's like applying, it's a real thin finish. It's almost like applying a varnish or something like that.
Okay.
That does a really nice job with fiberglass, because you can you can, it spreads real good, but of course, because it spreads so good and it's workable for so long, you can also get an awful lot of it off. So
Yeah. The one reason I like that Bob Smith stuff is there's no smell. It doesn't stink at all.
yeah,
Polyester stinks.
yeah.
No, I don't
Yeah,
want any of that.
polyester is a pain. So
I think Hobby Epoxy paint was Emron, wasn't it? And Emron is really dangerous to breathe. So
I
that's
don't
why
think
they
it
quit
was.
making it.
I don't think it was Emron. I thought it was pretty benign stuff. I hope it was. Otherwise, well, that would explain a lot. But you always used to use that stuff. You always brushed it. You never sprayed it. Always brushed it in the basement, whatever. And the Hobby Epoxy products were absolutely impervious to anything. They're spectacularly fuel proof. So they were great on rat racers and stuff like that. So
Well, Hobby Epoxy was, that was Pettit Company.
yeah, Pettit paint.
Pettit there. And Hobby Epoxy was there. They made marine epoxies, what have you, and they just made the Hobby Epoxy for the model.
Yeah. But I think Imran was a total, I don't remember Imran coming out till like the 80s or something like that.
Yeah.
Bob uses Z-Poxy.
Z-Poxy. Yep.
All right, that's Zap. That's the Zap product and that John's talking, that he mentioned. So, okay.
Well, my plane's going to have brush hairs and all in it, so farm use.
There's no way you do it. Farm use only.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell me it's going to be John Deere green. So,
No, and yellow.
John Deere green and yellow. That's the only.
or Harvester red, or what, Massey Ferguson orange, or
Ford blue.
National orange. I'm starting to. That's starting to grow on me. The international orange.
yeah.
I'd have any plane, so anything looks pretty good to me right now.
You could build an ag duster for stunt, and it would be farm use only.
That's right.
An
There
egg
you
dust.
go.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, Tom
Walter,
did
you're all set.
like the idea of me putting farm use on his vector profile.
I just might build a stunter in green and yellow and put farm use only. I think that's phenomenal.
I think you're onto
too.
something there.
Oh,
Kubota's
man.
orange. Kubota's got orange.
You could call it Poppin' Johnny.
Call it what?
Poppin' Johnny. That's what they used to call John Deere's. They had that 3-cylinder that was kind of
Oh yeah, Poppin' Johnny. Yeah, there you go. Wow, John Deere low. I had a friend of mine, a kid, and he loved John Deere. His first few airplanes, they were all John Deere, green and yellow. He had it down to the T. Had the John Deere logos all over it and everything. It was great.
There was a guy in the RC club used to do that. Only he would use monocoat, the bright yellow and green and stuff. He did some gorgeous airplanes too with yellow and green. So
That's right. You know what it would
Yeah.
be neat? I could put big lug tires on it too. That would look phenomenal.
cultivator tires. Yeah.
That's right. Big
Well, the
lug.
the big flotation tires like they put on the bush planes and stuff
I
like
think
that.
that'd look just tickety boo. For lands in grass only. No pavement landing.
Farm use only.
Only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys see here when I finish. I'm getting close to finishing it.
Make sure you put Kubota on the wing.
Put what on the wing?
Kubota.
Kubota.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do it orange and black
there's
and call it a Kubota.
Kubota, okay. You guys, I'm gonna have us transfer to the after party because it's after 9 o'clock, and we've had a good show. We've had 17. We think we've had as many as the highest. We've eclipsed 22 views tonight, and we have 14 likes. So if you haven't hit the like button, please do that. And then the guys on the chat, they had their own kind of conversation going after a while, maybe because I wasn't really commenting very much. But I think I saw, yeah, Will Davis for the first time. He put P. Not sure what that means. But we had Dennis earlier, Todd, Jeff Riley, Todd Stinson, Jack Snively, Mike Rigel, Marcel Legrand, and yeah, that's about it. So on the chat, thank you guys for coming out with us, and we're going to translate to the after party. We don't go anywhere. I just end the stream. So again, we do this every Monday and Friday night at 6:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. At least that's when I start. It might not start streaming until almost 7, but I start every evening at around 6:45. So we'll be back again Monday. So go out and have some fun this weekend. Come back and tell us all about it. And hopefully you can show us some show and tells or come up with some good questions, and we will do our best to answer them to our best of our ability. And so until then, I'll see you guys. Talk to you later. See you later.
See you later, alligator.
Later.
See ya.
I was about to end
Okay,
this.
everybody.
Let me see here. Where is the one?